Thanks everybody for joining us today. I've got a great show. We're going to be talking about data and supply chains. This is something that's very big. Just looking at the recent CAGNY event where people were talking about the number one thing from executives was understanding data to impact your business. I've got some great guests. With further ado, I will get them on the show with me. Here we go. Allow them to introduce themselves. All right, Michelle, Fernando, welcome.
Thanks, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Hey, I will let you guys do a quick intro, run down what you're working on, and then let's start discussing data and analytics.
Excellent. I'll go first because I'm in the middle of my screen, at least here at home. Hi, I'm Michelle Dennedy. I am the CEO of Zen Data Privacy. We're a privacy developer tool and platform for inserting your policy into your code, as well as a consultant at Privatus. .online consulting.
Nice. Fernando.
Hey, Scott. I'm Fernando Palacios. I'm a retired supply chain person. That's what I've done pretty much all my life. I work for Kraft, Pillsbury, Land O'Lakes, KPMG, and lastly, at Miller Coors. Lately, I've been doing some consulting, as usual in the supply chain space, trying to help folks with understanding their strategies and how do they leverage their data to get more insights and become more predictive in what they do in their business day to day.
Nice. So you got a little bit of experience in this world with supply chains and data. And Michelle, you know, you've read a book or two, or maybe written one about that as well, huh?
I have indeed. I've been a privacy geek for almost 30 years now, between intellectual property and privacy. And I'm a co-author of the Privacy Engineers Manifesto and the Privacy Engineers Companion. So if you've eaten, you've worked with Fernando. If you've looked at anything online, you've worked with me in the past. So we're old friends.
Perfect. All right, well, let's jump into some questions here. We're going to start out. You'll see them on the screen for us. And for anybody viewing, please like, comment, share below, ask your questions to us, and we'll do our best to answer. All right, starting out here, we understand today that consumers are in the driver's seat. They are the ones that are producing data for all of these companies. They are what we have accessibility to as a company is all driven from that data. So what I'm going to ask you both is, how are we using this data and how is it affecting supply chains globally? So whichever one you would like to start, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so let me take a crack at it, Scott, but I'll start, by telling you what has really changed is what consumers are providing to us, but it's driven by their behavior. So, if you think 10, 15, 20 years ago, there were companies like Peapod, internet was, booming, web band, name it. I mean, I'm not trying to cut anybody short. Some of the issues back then was the privacy, which, Michelle will discuss in a few minutes. But it was also the behavior. So getting product to be dropped at my house or inside my house, I'm not sure I'm that comfortable. I can't see it. This is 15, 20 years ago. Move the movie forward today. The new generation is extremely comfortable with, I'll just need my personal device and I'm going to do everything through it. Even if they're talking, my daughters, I used to give them a hard time. They were talking to their boyfriends and it's like they were next to each other and they were texting. And it's like, how about turning around and just talking? Does that work? But it's a very comfortable generation with technology. Well, look at our technology, baby boomers. We are getting even very comfortable with ordering online. I have no issue with anybody, Amazon, Walmart, Target, any of the real retail providers dropping things at the door. I don't even think about, will somebody steal it? Will it be there when I get home? I'm not worrying about it. I just order. There's plenty of things that I'm not too concerned about measurements because it's really easy to return. So behaviors are different. Because of that, now you got supply chains. I work for consumer goods company that most of us forever have sold cases of something. we have shipped pallets of somethings, truckloads of something. Now, all of a sudden, customers can order two deodorants. There's a difference between two and a case of those things. I just want one. I want six. So the packaging configurations are very different. The requirements are very different. How about I want it tomorrow? I'll be glad to pay $1 more. Oh, if you give it to me this afternoon, yeah, I'll give you the 50 cents. And wow, so inventory strategies are different. Most of us are making stuff to stock, and all of a sudden, we're really getting orders that are in real time. So the supply chains are having to adjust to inventories. They're having to adjust to packaging formats, and they're having to adjust to consumer desires that are on the fly.
I love this conversation so much because Fernando's like talking about the real world. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of us in data and artificial intelligence, we forget that we're serving that world that he's talking about. The data pools that we've done, even up to 2019, was sort of like, let's grab off of all these new platforms, and we'll put it through some magic algorithm, and then we'll serve you up ads, and we'll manipulate your behavior, and yay. And thus, $1 trillion advertising bonanza had begun. Behaviors have changed dramatically during the sort of dumpster fire of 2020, how people are comfortable. And what we're talking about is really, from a personal perspective, it's a wave of trust. Remember, you mentioned Webvan. I still have like a soft place in my heart. I was a young mother with Webvan. Like, I didn't have to pack all that stuff in a stroller and take my baby and make sure she napped at the right time to get to the market. It was a revolution. And then when it went away, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm short on diapers again. The trust wasn't there. The supply chain to understand that new behavior wasn't there. And even the trust of putting in your credit card information onto the computer wasn't there 20 years ago. Well, we're here now. And so I think, rather than just looking at the piles and piles and piles of data, I think the strategic move is to exactly listen to somebody like Fernando, who's in the supply chain game. How are consumers asking to consume? We are asking for very different things. Think about Blue Apron now is like a micro grocery store on my doorstep. Very different than getting a case of deodorant.
Yep.
I've done this. I mean, I was one of the few people who didn't have to stockpile toilet paper because I accidentally got on a subscription plan for toilet paper years ago, and I have a garage full because I couldn't handle my own supply chain with the data. So I think as you think about, this is a new and a fresh way to look at how you think about using analytics, using machine learning, and first looking at that customer dead in the eye and saying, what do they want and how do they want to consume it? That's the new way to move forward.
Yeah, that's a very interesting, thank you both for those. It's very interesting. In my background coming from artificial intelligence, we are capturing data at rates that unprecedented. Every year is a new quantifiable number of data that we are gathering. And for the most part, what are we doing with it? What's happening to it? What is the point of even capturing some of this data? There's so many aspects and levels to it.